you can see my precious face. Okay, let's get started. I'm a little late, but I was just working on the tutorial video. So I'm gonna see if Jesse comes in to see if he's going to say if this is his piece for submission, because I did sneak a peek at your chats and he said he might submit this. Looks great. Well, this is the in progress right now. I'm trying to finish it up. But yeah, it's a pain in the butt because I don't paint a lot of foliage because I'm lazy with backgrounds, which is kind of bad for me. So thank you for forcing me to work on stuff I don't want to work on. Okay, we might as well start on Greta, yours first then, because you're the one here. Okay, let's see. All of these images. Pink and blues. I feel like we might want to shift all the bottom side more purpley, because right now the characters feel very detached from the background, and so we're going to shift the tones a little bit. The painting lacks Makima. This is Makima. What are you talking about? Hello, Misu. Good morning to you. Just slightly more purplish, maybe like right here would be good. Let me know if the volume's too loud at times and I'll fix my mic. It's a little loud. Okay, let me adjust that, baby. Is that better? Mic's too low. Does that sound okay still? Okay. Professional streamer here. I don't double check any of the audios, so people on YouTube suffering. Anyway, let's adjust these colors right here. So before, after, a little bit closer to your character so it feels more unified. And I see we are definitely going to make good use out of my tutorial this month. Okay, and then perspective. Let's talk about perspective real quick first. First thing first. Let's see. So it's the 3D modeling. Okay. So the perspective is technically correct, but it feels very tight around the characters here, so it doesn't feel like she could actually sit down. And if I remember, most of the environment is very like Chinatown, Asian-esque inspired steampunk. So I feel like the architecture of like just buildings in China do feel a little bit different than apartments in America. Working hue box. Oh my gosh, I don't know what is exactly wrong with yours, but you might want to double check whether your hue thing is set to point sample and it's on all layers and not any of these other things, or else no matter how much you adjust, like you select it, if you're like only current layer, then even if I select the table, it's not gonna select that color. So all layers, point sample, don't do 31 by 31 or else you're gonna suffer too many colors. It's Adobe's. Oof. Yeah, we don't pay for Adobe, bro. This is this is like 2015 Adobe. I don't. My sister found the the older version, quote unquote. So I'm not paying for Photoshop right now. It's way too expensive for all these other functions that I'm probably not going to use, especially with like the generative AI fill thing. I feel like I don't need that. Anyway, let's see. Oh, interesting. So you're testing out some other color options too. Okay, okay. Alright, well, looks like, let me... let's pull a new layer down for a second, and we're going to mess with the perspective a little bit. Oh. I probably just push these right here a little bit back. Some of the line work might get erased a little bit because I am kind of manipulating a little bit, so it's not going to be perfect. This can stay down here. Alright, and then now to move some stuff around. How do we do this? I'm not sure what I'm quite looking at though. Alright. Fill this baby up. Oh, good, you put that on a different layer. Okay. Let's see, plant layers. The one time I'm going to ever label anything is going to be today. So this shadow here is way too dark for the environment, considering all the other shadows are pretty mid-tony. So I'm just gonna bring it up a little bit. See how that feels a little bit better before or after. Most worried about perspective of the figures. Yeah, so we're gonna have to work on that because I think the chairs are way too small because they're supposed to be poking up towards us. So let's see, where's the line art layer, and let's mess around with it a little bit. First of all, these have to be way bigger. Kind of works. You're just here for the vibe and the knowledge. Should I not count this as submission then? I'm just gonna delete it then. Okay. Ah, no, all my hard work. Okay. Hey, whatever you want. Okay, Jesse, if you don't feel like any critique this month, that's on you. So you're gaslighting yourself to forget about it. Okay, so the chair should be at least a little bit bigger like that. Same for this one. Sap this baby out. And how would you be able to tell whether or not the chair is the right size? Just think about it like the chair is supposed to be taller than the table typically, like most chairs. So if when you're drawing it in this perspective, they're not like kind of peeking, like if you're looking at the angle and draw like a straight line, theoretically it should be kind of taller than the table. So this part should be overlapping on top. Let me hide the background real quick and I'll just do some line art here to help you fix that up. Get that curve back in there. Okay, so this is not gonna be clean line art like you usually like, Greta, because we're working on a timer here today. So you can go ahead and fix up the perspective a little bit later. Okay, so we're gonna see less of these sides of the chair because we're looking at it from top down. See less of this leg because it's kind of bent above and over it. Just a heads up, I think next month we may have to hold critique at a later hour because I am starting a new job and I won't be able to physically get home till around 3. So potentially 3:30, so potentially we'll host critique time a little bit later, like around 4 or something like that. We're gonna have to get rid of that weird later hour. You can get some more sleep, Misu. Now if we really wanted to exaggerate the whole top-down angle, Greta, you can even make like the chair go from like fat to skinny, so it's gonna get a little skinnier down here. Up here, this part is gonna be nice and fat. That way you can really push the angles. Hide that baby. Okay, maybe something like that. And then same for all these, we're gonna push the angle a little bit to make it feel more dramatic. So this bush right here, pot needs to be more circular because all of these are top down. And we're gonna go nice and curved, less of that straight line. And you get a really pushed perspective. Same for all of these. So once you've gotten like your general 3D guide, I feel like it's okay for you to stray a little bit just to push some of the perspective and the energy of the pieces a little bit so it feels more dramatic. Yeah, I thought we would, but the guy canceled like literally a week after signing up, so I don't actually know if he's committed to it or not. Because like I feel like my Patreon is a very low-key chill thing. I don't push out tutorials like every single week, so maybe it's not what he's looking for, and he already got my course, so maybe he likes that better. So I don't know, we'll see. My Patreon's it's a sleeper. Okay, we're gonna scoot. We're gonna take a little notes from the original artist itself and push some of these perspectives a little bit. I do have to wonder why the window is kind of leaning backwards, because the wall is a straight line like this. And then so everything else should be straight lines. if we start leaning things, I would say closest to this middle line is straighter, and then farther away we can start leaning more to get that dramatic perspective. I'm gonna open up this window just a little bit more so you have a little bit more light in. Scoot this one over. The Three Musketeers, we love to see it. Okay, let's get back the color. That's just the general guidelines. So we have the perspective. So I'm gonna have to shift some things around now. So plant. We're just gonna do some quick resetting of these things before we talk about the perspective of the characters real quick. So I'm not gonna fix that just yet. Okay, that's close enough. Alright, so for the characters, I feel like they're generally okay, but their sizing is a little bit too big, especially compared to the table. So they look like giants. So where are they? There. I'm gonna shrink them a tad bit to say maybe this big. He needs to be a little smaller. His body feels way too big. Okay, I'm gonna start grouping stuff so I don't get confused. Okay, so let's shrink him down a little bit more. Oh, what? Am I still missing stuff? Now, don't worry, my LEGO organization is absolute garbage too. Look, none of these have like actual names. I'm just like, hopefully I remember what the shit they are. Okay, so this is red. So we're gonna shrink him down because he is a short boy. So his proportions are tinier compared to Miss Mama. Okay, and then I'm just gonna give a little bit more space for breathing. I don't actually know what this layer is. I'm gonna delete it. And then let's scoot her back, make her leaning against the chair because that's her signature move while she's smoking. In which case, let's throw a little chair right here for her. And I also scoot the walls back a little bit more because I said they need breathing room or else they can't do any of these things. Oh, did I not adjust this? I thought I adjusted it. When you're doing this, Greta, I think you might benefit from having the chairs be on a separate layer. That way when you do the shadows for this part, it won't be so weird. So I'm just gonna cover it up first. And then I'll add the chairs here. Bloop, bloop, bloop. See how it's a little bit easier for you to work and move stuff around. Let's move this also. Okay, so let's give him a chair too, because he's just dangling out here. And then this one, I'm going to scoot the shadow, make it a little bit longer so it feels like the light actually pushes the shadow back that way. You guys, it's all wrong. It's Revenge Tokyo. Okay, and then within the shadow we can bring some sense of light. So I'm gonna, I don't know, break up some of the shapes a little bit. That way you don't have just this huge chunk of dark. See that in the thumbnail right here? I would probably think a little bit about like where the chair legs would be, so where would the actual shadows be? Mr. Plant over here could probably move up a little bit. Okay, just ignore how the line art doesn't match up with it. And then for this parts like this right here, I would suggest you probably go for some kind of like magenta color. Maybe this one might even be lighter actually. Or some kind of thing so you don't draw too much attention on the colors. Window. If you feel real motivated, you can go try and look at some of like the building architecture inside the original manga and add some of like the little types of apartment buildings that they have, because I know that it's very indicative of like the environment. Without it, kind of feels like you can kind of get lost. So maybe, I don't know, we'll throw in a sign here and there. Oops, that's not their windows. It should be tall ones. I'm trying to remember how those windows look like. So there's one big sweeping gap right here, then we break up with some shapes. Let's look at it real quick. know. You know what? I'm just gonna remove the key binding because I bound what's it called? Toggle mute with the space button. Where did I put it? Okay, we got rid of it. No more accidental muting. Anyway, I was just saying, so in the background, I would just suggest like some kind of like buildings. So you could take a look at like the original manga where like they have like the types of buildings. You could also look at these types of buildings because it's very, very classic Asian crowded building types. So something like that. And then let's start about the figures because that is your main concern. So you want to be very, very careful when it comes to top-down heads because the nose does stick out. So don't forget it. You're gonna want to do, where is it? Yeah, okay. Okay, I'm gonna merge this down. No. I'm gonna merge the line layer down into the color just to make it easier for me to edit it real quick. So I'm gonna be careful, make sure the nose sticks out a little bit more at this angle, especially since we have Portrait Studio to do that. Yes. Oh no. Okay. No, maybe I'll do it. Okay, my computer didn't crash. Good work. This last week my allergy was so bad. I feel like I had like low-key hay fever slash regular cold or something because my nose was stuffed up so badly. I don't know if you guys have like seasonal allergies, but I just feel like this fall was just really weird for California. It's never been like that for me. It's usually just been like a little bit of stuffiness, but not like so bad to the point like I couldn't breathe. Anyway, let's change this to a guide. Not that it really matters, but maybe you feel like you want to see a guide for a change of pace. So, oof. Well, California is... what can I say? California does not get cold, and when it gets cold, it's just like biting cold. Okay, anyway, this is the angle we're at, so you're gonna see the nose pops out a little bit. Even if I change his features to match more of like the original manga's proportions, so his nose would be more upturned. We'll keep the height around here, increase the fat just a little bit. Make the eyes like humongo. Don't think they have monolids if I remember. Where is it? Yeah, it's like humongous, but that's like artistic stylization, so I don't want to go too crazy because if I did that, you could totally make it like humongo, like this big, I guess. I'll just make it like a little bit bigger. That just looks dumb. Okay, so this doesn't let me go much too big because it's still supposed to be realistic. And then the nose bridge right here, it would be dipping a little bit. because I don't think manga likes to have the nose bridge, but to make it still seem like male, I'm gonna dip it just a little bit and we're gonna turn it up a little bit. And then let's finish up the jaw height a little bit higher. Maybe there, I don't know. Bring the brow up a little bit. Forehead depth, decrease that, baby. Oh, I did see Clip Studio and like how they had like a sale. It looked really good, but I was like, am I really gonna use Clip Studio? So maybe Clip Studio will have a better 3D modeler than this one, but for me, since I already paid the amount that I did, I'm gonna use it and abuse it till I make the money worth. Chin shape. Sounds like someone's encouraging me to do reckless spending. Okay, that looks like a very juvenile, very soft looking femboy. Right? Very androgynous. So even if we... No, Christmas is coming around the corner, guys. You can't do this to me. Let's save up. Also, friend birthday gifts to buy. Anyway, this is the angle, so keep in mind it just comes out a little bit. It's pretty close to the edge. The lip's gonna wrap around like this. So let me shrink the size of Photoshop so we can do this. I'm gonna backtrack on the merging layers. Keep them separate, so I can help you edit a little bit on some of the faces. So I know manga makes it very flat, but still, even from this angle, we're gonna have a little bit of curve. That way it feels a little bit more natural. And bring the eyebrows down along this edge right here. And then have the nose come down this way. And all the eyes are kind of be tucked in. His eyes are like humongous, so honestly, I feel like it's a very hard line to toe between the making sure he still looks kind of masculine and not too feminine. You just want all your characters to have flat faces for Greta. Okay, let's pull up the Gokurai character designs. It's been a hot second since I've seen it. Stylistic choices. Big ol' honkin' eyes, okay. Yes, his eyes are huge. Like, even she has smaller eyes than him, and that's how you know it's very hard line to toe between making sure he looks like still a boy and still make him super cute, because the art style is like huge eyes kind of thing. Yandere right there. Heavy yandere vibes. This is the shit you run from in real life, okay? Let's see. Okay. We gotta make sure the eyes still kind of wrap around there, so maybe the eyebrows will kind of cover it up a little bit. We'll keep the soft chin because that's the artistic style. They got very soft chins. He also short eyebrows, so not as high as this, but let's see. Let me go Discord. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba-bum. Yeah, I feel like, let's pull this image up here. We're gonna zoom in as much as we can. Yeah, definitely. If we're gonna stylistically keep that, we're gonna go bring his hair, and we're gonna cheat a little bit to make it our life easier because I feel like his hair is really long anyway, so we're not gonna be seeing half of his eyebrows. So we're gonna go shoo, cover that baby up. This whole section right here, look at how long that hair is. Yeah, so you can make your life easier, Greta, by putting some more hair there. That way we don't have to worry so much about capturing the face, the messiness of the eyebrows right here stylistically. So you're gonna see that his hair is like way too high for his forehead, for his head shape. Like his head is over here, so we can't go too high. We're gonna go shrink it down a little bit. To say there. A lot of hair layering. It's definitely not my favorite. I hate shaggy hair. It's so hard, so much work to do. Give me the long, elegant hair. That's so much easier. And then his ears right here. His neck is right here. Okay, I'm gonna draw a cylinder so you see where his head would be and his neck. So his shoulder would be about here, since his neck is a cylinder and it wraps around about, say, here. His shoulder should line up with the back of that neck. All the way across. And he's leaning forward, so his torso gets tucked in this way. Just like how you see a little bit here. So that means his arm comes this way instead. And we push this back this way. So we have some more competing angles. So I'm not gonna draw the hands. Or if I do draw, let's just draw some ugly hands right now. Okay. Chopsticks. I would need a reference picture for this angle, especially for like chopstick holding, because I don't draw that angle often. But I think it would probably look something like this. Okay, yeah, something like that. Maybe something like that. It's like really messy, but I feel like that would probably be the angle. His eyelashes would come out a little bit. Yeah, something like that. Okay. So make sure this nose kind of is above the mouth, or else you're gonna lose a lot of the angle. You can make the mouth a little bit bigger, but then you have to kind of bump the chin down a little bit so there's still adequate space. I also kind of gave him a little squint just so it feels like he's very happy to eat, because he's a pig style, like a foodie, if I remember from the manga. So shaggy hair there. Clean up the lines, and then let's just really quickly fix up that mess right there. Yes, yes. I can't wait for more chapters to come out. It's like, the story's really early on, so not much is known about him. Like, and what his whole shtick is with the demons and stuff. For shadow wise, I would avoid using this grayish color. Is so dull, it drowns out everything. We're going to shift the colors a little bit. Bump the saturation. Okay, so the saturation now a little bit nicer, right? But he's also going to have to, his face has to get some of that shadow too. Okay, that's the light that we're proposing, especially if you have such a strong backlight. Ways we can bring back some of the light is we can have some of the table lighting bounce back on us. So I'm gonna erase a little bit away. I feel like the story is like, it's not very fleshed out, because I definitely think the mangaka was more focused on creating a very cool world rather than creating a believable story, which is fine, but long term I don't know if it will like make it blow up in popularity if the story's not at least somewhat like cohesive and decent. But the art. Okay, some kind of mess of a shadow right there. Highlights here, we won't... probably won't use that blue, because, or at least don't use too much of it. You can use a little bit. Like just touch here and there, don't go too crazy, because it's not a actual physical light, it's just the bounce light of, like, not the bounce light, like the light of the sun. Yeah, I feel like the artist focused much more on the art rather than the story, which is, to be fair, I understand why. So I don't know, maybe it might function better as like a webtoon, because webtoons are like not known for crazy great stories, but the arts for some of those are like amazing. Okay, and then let's fix the proportions of her for a quick sec. Her neck is like, her head is like pushed way too far back, so it feels like she's doing this, like doing chicken neck. So we gotta push her head out forward a little bit. A little bit forward like this. And tuck the neck back in there. And you really want to emphasize on her sharp features, Greta. She has very slim face. Okay, so when we fix up her proportions, we're going to shrink down her face a little bit. Make sure we bring out her face this way because it's poking out a little bit more. Her neck's gonna tuck in here. And maybe just bring her shoulders in, make it a little bit smaller. Because even if she's like more muscular, she's not going to be too masculine muscular. So if we have the shoulders as wide as you had it before, it makes her feel very, very like a bodybuilder rather than just more of that elegant type, cool girl type. Okay, we can draw sort of an imaginary oval shape for where her shoulders are kind of angled towards. That way we make sure that everything is kind of lined up towards that. So even her boobs are going to follow that kind of curve. Same for her body. We're going to tuck it back in. Let's have her holding her cigarette right here. That way you can, I don't know, draw some interest towards her. And then as for like baggy clothes like this, it might help if you have like a baggy jacket yourself and you can take a reference photo of that, and then that way you can get the angles or like get the folds, the way you shade the clothes a little bit more accurately if you do struggle with that. And since I did say she was leaning forwards a little bit, we're going to push her torso up. And keep in mind we're still keeping that oval shape a little bit. Maybe we'll just have her hand resting here or something, I don't know. That way you can kind of bridge the gap between the two characters, because there was a lot of space between the two and it felt very, very empty. I'm giving her body a little bit of a tilt so she feels more dynamic, and then you can bring her braids up forward a little bit so you can have a little bit of break from just the monotony. Okay, so maybe something like that would be good enough for fixing her angle. I'm not gonna worry too much about drawing her legs because you're not gonna be able to see it. Same for him. So shift. Yeah, I'll sign the PSD for all of these that I'm working on. Just like as a standard practice, because I think you guys find it a little bit more useful in terms of it's easier for you to edit from it. So let's cover that up so you have a chance to get some lighting back. So maybe I'll set this as the lighting. So I'm gonna make the shadow a little bit lighter. Okay, maybe that's a little bit easier for you to get on board with the shadow. What the heck is this? What is, no, there's nothing on here. Okay, okay. Okay, so let's do that shadow layer that we want to try. Oops. It's probably gonna have this kind of shadow. This side can have a little bit more light, whereas the other side is all in the dark. You could potentially even have her holding her gun right here, because I know she's not actually eating. She's just here to feed the boy. And then we might want to lighten up this one just a tad bit. It's very saturated in this whole picture and it's drawing way too much attention. Let's make your chairs a little bit darker. We'll make them this purpley color and then you can bring back some of the lights with the blue or whatever. No daily Toji, but we love Toji. So the box right here, we're gonna keep the colors relatively neutral for the background, but we do want to add some darkness here and there. So maybe we'll oops. Yeah, maybe we'll do like variations of other colors that we've seen already, and then you can break it up with some of that green a little bit. Okay, this is like an ugly poster. You'll probably think of something else to put in there, but just some colors. We keep each other accountable. That's what this is for. Alright, so add a little bit of color to the posters. Everything else will keep relatively neutral. This cat right here. You can keep them those colors. I feel like with the ceramic cat you have an opportunity to practice your reflections a little bit. So maybe you'll have some of those purple colors from the wall bouncing back onto it. And a little bit of some of those pinks from the outside, I don't know. Maybe something like this. Oh, Jesse's piece. I don't know if you wanted me to critique it. If you want me to critique it, I'll include it in the set list. Okay, anyway, so that's the general idea for how we're gonna move along on this piece. You can then make sure, you know, final steps would just be to add the dishes in here. Maybe you might even add some drinks or something, or sauces, and make the table feel a lot more full compared to right now, because right now it's very, very empty. And then I'll just do one general talk about doing these types of plants. You do want to start with your darks, and I will talk about this more inside the tutorial, but this is how you would approach painting these types of plants. So first we're going to just paint out a general shape of the plant using a dark color. You might want to make it a little bit more naturalistic, so maybe some are kind of skinnier than others. Then you come over it with a lighter color. And you break up the shape a little bit. Some of these plants might be connected to each other, some might not be. See how the shadow kind of connects a little bit better? And then you can come back in for the light sections. You guys are talking about drinking. Or y'all a bunch of alcoholics in my chat. Legal drinking age anywhere else besides the US is much younger. And then you're just going to break up the shape of the leaves like this. And I'm just gonna erase a little bit of some of these areas to get back some of that light. And voila, you got like a very quick plant. It's not like perfect, but significantly a little bit more gripped up together. Feels a little bit cleaner. See? I can't imagine being able to drink at 16, because I'm pretty sure I know some people who would totally use and abuse that rule. Okay, make this plant a lot bushier. Right now it's too sparse. These types of plants are usually very, very full. Okay, Greta. Maybe something as full as this, you could even add some other object in here. We could do I'm trying to remember what the manga was. Maybe you could do like the edge of a couch right here. Okay, that way you fill up that space a little bit. And brings it all together. Okay, so before, way too big. After, they feel a little bit more believable in size. Dead plant. Yeehaw! We got ourselves a good working spot. Okay, let's move on. Let's go to Misu's right now. I'm gonna get rid of this gray scale right here because you did want to just be able to jump in straight towards color. I see you did thumbnails. Good job. So it depends on what kind of vibe you're going for. If you're like Greta and you want to stick with sort of like this sort of color palette, then obviously the colors that we're going to use for this piece are going to feel a lot more fantastical. Reference folder? Let's see. Reference. Ah, okay, yeah. So we're gonna try to translate this color into this right here. Okay, so first of all, what you have to remember is what is your light source. So that is going to be the brightest point in your piece, so everything else has to be based on that light. So let's see. We can lighten up this piece just a tad bit so we can still see more of the features, but let's go. First of all, I don't ever like to put white down because that makes it very hard for you to judge any of your other values, so keep it with your gray colors. We can make it so it's not necessarily like a dark room. Maybe there's like some light in the room itself, so something like this. You see how there's some bounce light in the background? We can just lighten it up a little bit. So what you would want to do is first of all set how dark the background is going to be. So this is a very red orangey toned piece, so I'm going to start with like a sort of a brownish color first, and we're going to start blocking in. Are you referring to, let's see, this one right here? Let me find, so this one right here. Yeah, so that one is definitely there's like a window in front of the girl, so that's why it's so bright. Whereas this piece right here, or this one right here, the lighter is held really, really close and there's no other really light source. Bye bye, Greta, we'll see you in a bit. So these two pieces right here, you don't have as much light, but we can sort of do a medium ground and kind of fake it a little bit. And just lower the contrast for you so you can still see the features a little bit. So start with your browns and then we're going to start mapping out that, let's see. I'm going to do something that will make life easier. I'm sure you've got these on a separate PSD or whatnot, but I need this on like side by side view so I have an idea of what we're going for. So we're gonna make this girl. We're gonna probably go a little bit darker. So that means I'm gonna brighten up this background a little bit, so that way, even if we go dark, we don't have to go too dark. That drag and drop is, for me, I have it as V. So it's this tool right here, I just have it as V, so I select the layer and then I go whoop. Okay, so I'm not gonna go too light because if we go too light, the lighter's not gonna look light enough. So that is always our concern. I use a lot of keyboard shortcuts for all my tools because I feel like it takes a little bit more time to try to find all your tools, be like go back and forth, especially if I'm gonna go V, B, E, R, T, L, lasso, M for marquee tool. Control A, Control C. Yeah, that's like a little bit more work. I usually don't really use the Control C or Control V function unless it's like from like an online source or whatever, and then I'm pasting it into the document. Otherwise, if it's from Photoshop to Photoshop, you can just have them side by side and drag them into each other. Okay, and then we're gonna decide that this baby right here, okay, so maybe we'll have a slight light source like it's a sunset or something, I don't know. And there's a window lighting or something like this, and then let's first mark off the brightest point of our picture, which is going to be that lighter right there. I'm going to use white for now, but that's obviously not going to be the final color. We'll probably tinge it a little bit with some yellows. So I'm imagining that you might have like some kind of light source in the front right here besides the match a little bit, just in order for the features to be seen better. But if you really do want this one, the match should be held just a tad bit closer to her face, because otherwise you really can't get that bright lighting unless it's like a huge flame. Okay, so maybe she has some kind of lighting right there. I don't know, I'm just throwing some weird colors in here, trying to break up the monotony of it a little bit. The lighter, so how big is, so from this distance the lighter actually is able to light the whole face? If the whole room is dark. Then potentially we could just do it like this. Like this. Yeah, we could do it like this instead. And then let's sway some of these shadows into the greenish yellow colors, because we're gonna have the light source be super, super warm. So good old hair's gotta be pretty dark farther away. Can be a little bit of brownish color, bluish color, I don't know. We gotta break up the colors a little bit because it's too monotonous right now. Let's go a little bit reddish because we are going for redder lighting. It is ugly coloring, but we don't care for now. It's just blocking in colors. Some areas might be a little bit warmer, that's why I'm doing that. So if the lighter is going to be like the brightest source, then obviously the shadows are going to be pretty harsh on her face. See. How bright does that go? Probably would be pretty bright. Okay. I'm gonna be a little bit lazy. We're gonna use a little bit of color dodge to get this color a little bit brighter. Then I'm just gonna start mapping out some of those brighter reds. this whole section would probably get some of that light. And at this point, you don't have to worry about coloring it too perfectly. You're trying to get the colors in, like, the general idea of how you're gonna add the colors in there. So it's okay if it's like as messy as this. It's probably gonna push the nose lighting this way. Let's see. Okay, so let us recapture that lighting. Turn off my directional light, and we're gonna do a point light. Shoot. So is it right about here? Background color is pitch black. So when you draw eyes with eyelashes, keep in mind the eyelashes are actually very sparse on the eye. So when you draw individually like this, it definitely will always look weird unless you stylize it a little bit. I know that you said you wanted to do more flat rendering for manga style, so I'm going to show you how you might approach that way while still be able to do like realistic proportions. So that light, we're gonna go, is there ambient light? Let's do ambient light. Okay, do a little bit of ambient light. Let's do big ol' red color because we're simulating that thing. And we go strength big, apparently. Okay, so let's move this baby up. She's looking up. Oops. Why is it doing that? Oh my god, what is Portrait Studio doing? I don't understand why it's sticking like that, but stay, don't move. Okay, so maybe that might be how it might look. So I'm going to make sure some of these shadows right here, we're going to simplify. Okay, we're going to simplify your shadow. So with anime, the shadows really are focused mostly on the nose, the eyes, and the mouth. None for the face. The face can eat shit, especially if it's not like a dramatic dramatic light. So any subtleties that you have with some like regular paintings, anime shading, will try to simplify it for the quickest response possible. So there's a lot more geometric shapes in terms of anime shading, so we tend to use a lot more clean, crisp edges. So the nose, let's see, right here. I'm gonna shrink that shadow because for anime, they don't want to emphasize the nose too much. I think it's just a matter of exploring different styles that you see and pick and choose what particular about that style that you like. So is it the line work? Is it the proportions? Do you like how the eyes are drawn? Do you like the way the shading is done? And then couple it with your own skill at the moment, and also like how much time you have, because if you don't have a lot of time, then maybe anime type of coloring might be easier for you to do. Whereas if you want to go for a more realistic style, then obviously you're gonna have to do a lot more shading. What happened to my music? Ah. Okay, and then we're gonna probably get some bounce light like right along the fingers, especially where the light's kind of getting caught. And remember, fingers and hands are a lot warmer, so the color does have to push a little bit more reddish orange. Yeah, so that's why I'm showing you like kind of a cheat in between way. It's like not quite anime just yet because it's going to look way too flat. So we're gonna have to do a little bit of soft edges just here and there. It doesn't have to be too much. So some areas where you feel like you're losing a lot of the form because it's too anime, too straight, then you can come back in with some of your semi-realism. Like for the sides of the faces, especially like how harsh the shadow is, we might want to soften it up just by having a little bit of a gradient. I'm gonna erase some of your line work just so you can get a little bit of cleaner look. Especially like here, when you have those lines on the nose and you don't cover it up, it makes it feel very fill in the dots, kind of color me by numbers kind of thing. I'm gonna clean up that edge right there. And then you can bring back some of that light in here. So there are some places where you do have to have some of that shadow or else it's not going to look very good. But then some places you kind of shirk a little bit. Don't worry too much about it. So for this nose right here, we do need that shadow. And still right now you can see the color, like I haven't gone like as bright as this just yet because this is going to be your brightest light source. You don't go that bright. You can go a little bit brighter, especially for highlights, but it's all about subtleties. Just a little bit, see that? And when you go brighter, your saturation has to go lower because this means darker, this is lighter. Let's bring in the lips before I start, looks weird. I usually choose the skin color, go a little bit redder, a little bit darker, and that's about it. That way it looks somewhat natural. And shadows underneath the mouth tend to go a little bit redder because of the lip bounce light. And stylistically, if you like the whole like gradient lip, you can do it right now. Or you can go for more realistic, it's up to you. Kind of lost that gradient over here, so what is up? Lasso tool, I basically use it like every 2 seconds. Okay, all the lips on this side is gonna be a little bit brighter. We'll keep that away from there. I don't wanna do too much. Let me see. This is the blindfold. Eyebrows, we're gonna keep that same brown color. For the eyelashes, when you are drawing eyelashes, here's how I would suggest you to do it so it looks a little bit more connected to the eye. First of all, make sure the eye right here is nice and round because it is a sphere, so it's gonna wrap around the eyelid like this. Then we can start out with the big lash first. Okay. Then you're gonna make sure it's bigger along the edges, and you're gonna follow from the curve right here, overlap, curve this way, overlap, curve this way, overlap, and you just stop right about there. You don't want to do too much. The eyelashes here do not connect to the waterline. They would be down here. Okay. That's if you do line art for this. If you're just painting it, it would just be the lash line like this. And you can quickly get the eyelashes in there. I already forgot what her eye color is, but whatever, you know what her eye color is. So that's how I would probably go about doing the light. After this, it's mostly just rendering and a lot of just going back and forth, fixing some of the anatomical details, maybe just double checking that the background is dark enough or not too dark that you can do whatever. I don't know. If you wanted to, we could maybe... Let's maybe try this one. Yeah, if you wanted, you could do a little top-down lighting, but honestly, you could just keep this background nice and simple with the black. Just be careful not to use too dark of a black. You might want to go like this black. This pure black is for like if you're looking to do super contrasty, super dramatic. Okay, so something like this. Be careful with the boobs, though. Let's see. Where is your reference? Should be this one. Oops. Nope, not that one. Did I not grab the right one? This one. Ah. Okay, so her boobs are not separated that much, so you would want them, especially since there's no actual line, because her cleavage isn't large enough like those anime honkers. Bahonka honks that they're pushed together. So unless she's wearing a push-up bra, if she has, yeah, those are shadow indicators. Just to keep in mind, don't actually leave the line in there, just because the boobs won't look very realistic in that sense. So I'm gonna soften up this edge right here. Oops, no, wrong layer. Okay, so lots of big soft brush time at this moment. And then we bring in our lasso tool to try to define the structure a little bit right here. There's a little bit of shadow, so we can go in a little bit like there. Other side's gonna get a little bit of shadow just because, again, like she doesn't have perfectly pressed together balloons. A siren? Nah, there's always sirens. Some ambulance going by. Spicy. I'm gonna treat these as like balloons, so round objects. Round objects. Right here, her arm is pushing her collarbone this way. Collarbone, I don't know. Spicy. Nah, my area is not that scary that there's a gunshot wound. More likely that there's an old person. They call the ambulance or something like that. Because my city is very much a retirement city, so lots of old people. Some people mugging each other. You're right. I shouldn't assume. My bad. Didn't know you were such an activist for old people's rights, Jesse. Okay, so that might be how you would render the boobs. You don't want to go too much into it, just because they're round balloons. Something like that, okay? No, none of those lines before. Alright, let's finish off with Jessie. So some major issues that we're looking at right here is the anatomy. Pull out my red color, because that's the color that will make you remember from now on. Okay. So if the eye line is lined up here, nose line, the mouth, we're gonna tuck everything down. Everything is pointing downwards. Everything is pointing down. I'm on the wrong layer. Whoops. Everything is pointed down. Pointed down. Pointed down. K-pop Jessie. Pointed downwards. So that means the nose actually has to come down a little bit more and, oops, right here. Get a little bit bigger. Cover the mouth a little bit. Ah. Olivia, cut that baby. And you'll see immediately how that looks a little bit better in terms of the angle. You can feel like you're actually looking down, because if I'm looking down the same way, you'll see my nose gets closer to my mouth gets closer to my chin, everything kind of gets hidden away a little bit. What the heck is this color? Why can I not select a right color? Okay, and then next things first, the eye bags are severely lacking and you need to point your eyes down more. It doesn't feel very believable. So we're gonna make the eye socket poke out a little bit more so you can see the structure of the eye. Oops, that's too dark. And then another thing that we have concern here is that the face is like super wide. It should follow that egg shape. So here's your egg shape, right? So that means the cheekbone only comes out just a little bit unless you have massive cheekbones, which I don't think you are, because that would be Giga Chad levels. And I'm assuming that your chin is resting on top of this chin is resting on top of the girl. So even if it's like pushing down a little bit, it's still going to be a little bit longer. So the ear is in the right place, that's good. But the shoulder is way too high up, because we have to remember our back follows this curve right here for the shoulder. So hugging, don't be afraid to cover up more of the other person, because it's a very intimate, very all-encompassing kind of movement where you're basically trying to swallow the other person whole. So it can't be helped that sometimes you cover them up a little bit. Okay, so let me pull up some pictures of people hugging. Image. Yeah, the reference you used. Go ahead and throw that into the Discord if you wish. God damn that car. Oof. Okay. Ah, this one. Okay. Let's spicy it up. Copy. Thought I would have to finagle some kind of magic. Trying to figure out proportion. Okay. Alright, I can see why you would think his shoulder is a lot wider or like a lot more square than it needs to be. Yeah. But it's not that square, it still follows that whole diagonal down, kind of that round curve on the back right here. Two elbows right here at that diagonal. at that diagonal, so we're gonna scoot the arm down a tad bit, because keep in mind this dimension is longer than your dimension of the canvas. So right here, this one. Oh my god, how is it that photo is bigger than your painting? Okay, do you see how it's like a little bit longer than yours? So when you are trying to copy it, it's not gonna crop the perfect way. So if you're using a reference photo, you want to make sure you're cropping it to the same dimension as your canvas, or else you're gonna run into troubles like this. So the arm is actually a little bit lower like this. And his face is heckin' tucked in there. And her head is in front of his face. So this is the general locations. His face is actually super tucked in like this. Okay, if you can look at it now, this is what we're actually working with. He's super tucked in, his head is like massive because he's looking down this way. Okay, and that's why it balances it out a little bit more. So we're gonna try to get your piece a little bit, it doesn't have to match the angle perfectly, but we do want to try to get a little bit more accurate in terms of anatomy. So first of all, let's bust out our liquefy tool. We're gonna give this guy some plastic surgery, give him a smaller face a little bit. Then we're gonna tuck this guy down a little bit. Same for her face. Her face is like so freaking close to her, like so flat, so let me move this down a little bit. Okay, so slightly better. We're gonna scoot her face forward. I'm gonna get rid of the lighting for now because we have some other issues regarding the proportion. So her eyes right here, edge of the face, because it's basically kind of turned super extreme 3/4 view. And I'm not sure if you wanted to keep with the whole anime style, because if we're doing anime style, again, we would have to make her nose a lot more upturned and a lot shorter than this original photo. So let me know which one you prefer and I'll head into that direction for the edit. No idea. I feel like with the style you've been doing so far, it might help you to, let's do a little bit more anime style so it doesn't feel like you're copying it and makes it a little bit more fun for you to draw yourself too. Okay? But if you are just doing like a study, then obviously we'll go realistic. But for today's edit, we're gonna go a little bit stylistic to make it fun for you. And honestly, anime stylistic, it's a lot simpler in terms of learning how to get form down quicker. So let's cover that up a little bit. Okay, let's do our anime style. I'm gonna opt for a slightly reddish color. You're not the worst one, you're just the one that likes to be ambitious, but no motivation and no direction to go towards it. Okay. And that's just something you have to work on slowly. So anime style. So first, eyebrows, set the tone, find the middle of the face. So this is the whole head, find the middle, and this is where your eyes are gonna be. We're gonna draw one eyelash. Maybe we'll make the eyebrows a little higher up so it looks cuter. And we're going to simplify some of these features a little bit for you. With anime, they don't do the lips. It's just the side of the face. Those who just pay for the month and then don't submit anything, those are the people who are very funny. I appreciate their money, but also what are they doing? So we're gonna simplify the nose right here, simplify the mouth, okay? For the hair, we'll keep it simple. Secret sugar daddies. Dude, if they were my sugar daddies, they would be paying me a lot more. I am worth more than just $10 a month. At least with the annual gyms, they're earning like, what, $600 a year? That's like an actual business strategy, opening up a gym. Okay, let me scoot down her shoulders just a tad bit, so you can see her neck, because her neck is right here, okay? Now for the guide, to make it anime again, I'm gonna cover this up real quick. Okay, so the face, if you need, we can always draw some guide marks. I'm gonna shrink that, make that a little bit lighter so I don't see it as obviously, but here's where the eyes are gonna line up. One right here, one right here, and then I'm gonna make the face a little bit skinnier. And of course the eyebrows are gonna be brought down because everything is basically tucked down this way. Nose, you're gonna keep it simple. We're just gonna do single line. Let's see how we can find this fine line between realism and semi-realism. Switch the sides. Sometimes I'm just not seeing right from the right angle. He's got that 2 block right here. So don't make it too dense in the front. And I'm just gonna shrink the head just a tiny bit. So this color right here does not look like sky, so I'm gonna take this color, throw it in the back. Oops. Oops. We'll talk about color choices in a sec. For now, we're just gonna throw this all in there. And you want to pay attention to where your light is, Jesse. This part is basically the same brightness over here. And then we get a major shadow right here. Hey. Alright, time for color choices. In terms of all these colors right here, it feels very plasticky, doesn't feel very warm, especially this green you chose for nature. It's not a color you would typically find in nature, especially not in this warm lighting. If it's this cool green, all the light would be very cool. Alright, go ahead, take your doggy, give it a little kiss for me. So what we're gonna do now is we're gonna adjust the color right here. to make it feel a little bit more naturey. Slight difference, but already much better. Okay, then I'm just gonna take a little bit more, darken up some of these areas. Same for this blue here. Remember what I said, anything that looks blue, especially in this lighting, is most likely not blue. So we gotta warm it up. We gotta make it a little bit less saturated first of all. Less saturation already, the jacket looks better. Okay, then for the light areas we can go cooler colors like this. Especially for like the warm shadows right there. Same goes for his hair. It's too warm for the picture, it's too red. A lot of this is very yellowies and greens, so we gotta push it more towards there. Oops. Okay, slightly less red. Now if you wanted to keep all those like reddish colors, alright, so we'd have to change a lot of the colors around. First of all, let's make this more bluish. Okay, so if that is going to be red, we're gonna have to make the picture feel a lot more purpley and pinks. So we're gonna do a little bit of hue saturation adjustment, and you're gonna see how the colors have to kind of shift towards. It's gonna have to shift towards the pinks a little bit. Maybe we'll change the background. So instead of a green, maybe we would go for like a purple or pinks. So collect all that. Okay, we might have to shift the colors this way in order for it to look better. Otherwise it will feel very, very not right and out of place because your color palette does not feel cohesive at all. So let's go for some basic anime shading because that's a little bit simpler than, say, compared to semi-realism shading. Alright, let's try to make this baby a little bit more vibrant. We're gonna add some purplies to his hair. So this would be a lot more stylized kind of coloring method. A lot of the colors are exaggerated. I'm gonna break the monotony of all the pinks and purples with a little bit of this yellow greenish color. All this is gonna get blurred out anyway, so it doesn't actually matter. There you go. So I did if you don't know what I did, you can go back to the VOD later and see what I did, but I basically adjusted all the hues to hue saturation, and then you want to go back in and manually adjust. So I'm going to decide that all the purples and blues are going to be my cool colors. Since the hair, you wanted sort of this reddish color. The face has to shift more towards the pinks rather than the orange in order for it to work. The background, instead of the green, because the green is such a harsh contrast color compared to the pink, so if I just throw in that green right now, you're gonna see how really harsh it is. Let's go this green color right here. It's way too harsh, it's way too contrasty, makes it kind of hard for us to see anything happening. Whereas this one ties the picture a little bit together, and then you can break up the pink so it doesn't look so like overwhelming with a little bit of that green in there. So that's how you want to maintain color harmony in your pieces, is you think about the general tone of the picture. So this tone would be more pink, whereas this one is more warm, lighty, naturalistic lighting. So let me bring back some of that blush in there, the warm zones. Same for her. Let's adjust the skin tone a little bit. Yeah, so that's how you think about it when you're choosing colors. Even I struggle with colors, but I like to think about it that way in order for it to make it a little bit easier for me to think. Eventually, when we get really familiar and like comfortable with your colors, you can sort of turn on brain dead mode and just pick colors that look good to you. But at this point, we're not there yet, both of us. So we actually have to think a little bit. Our brains have to be used a little bit, unfortunately. Alright, let's use, I'm getting tired of manually painting, so we're gonna bring in our tools and we're gonna do a little bit of magic. And same for the back here, still too green. Slightly better. The hair right here, let's warm it up a little bit. And then once you got that, we're gonna come back in for those highlights because we're missing a huge chunk of that really bright light. This is not like perfectly rendered out, but it'll do for now. So right here is going to have that secondary light source, which is going to be cooler. So I'm going to scoot it over to the desaturated area. cool it off a little bit. You can even push it up a little bit towards the yellow because the greens in the background is closer to that yellow. Right? I'm just gonna scoot this arm over a little bit. I feel like it's too wide, like this distance right here. I'm using my finger to measure right now. Yeah, it just needs to scoot it in a little bit. Slightly better proportions. And let's just finish up the girls' lighting. So we're gonna do just a tad bit. Okay, so I just added a little bit of extra glow here so it looks a little bit nicer. You can do the same thing for this one. This one's probably going to use a slightly different color for the glow. Maybe like a pinkish color. See the slight differences? Okay, so before, oh, actually I totally forgot. I didn't switch the canvas back. Let's flip it back over and double check that we didn't fucking screw ourselves. Okay. So before, after, proportions like it's the dating sim. It's like the end credits where like you finally accrued enough love points or whatever and they're like, haha, let's live happily ever after. Before, after, before, after. Now if we were to go towards the realistic proportions, I'll just go a little bit about how to handle like these overlapping features. You're definitely going to want to be careful, especially with the lips. So let's see, how can we do this? So the lips are going to be like this, pokes out a little bit. Okay. And of course, her like this part is gonna have more structure than compared to anime, because anime would kind of simplify everything. And of course, then we're gonna get a little bit more of that under nose shadow. So that's going to be the main difference. And her eyes are going to be a little bit smaller just because it's realistic and eyes are not as pretty and big. So a little bit more downward angle for her, more shadow here. For him, his nose is definitely going to have to overlap a little bit more. And you might want to get some of that little cheek shadow to make it a little bit more realistic. Doesn't have to be too much, it can be subtle, because if you do too much it makes them look old. Okay, so you might handle it like this instead for the realistic version for these two. But anime just makes it look a lot more cutesy and everything. Cat anime theory. Technically, if you see like cat faces, they're very short, very cutesy, and for anime they follow that same kind of rule. So a lot of simplification to make the industry process a lot faster is they follow these simplification rules where they make things a lot smoother, less features to draw. So lips, fuck that, who needs lips? Eyes are the main focus anyway. We don't actually care about whether anime girls have juicy lips. That's gonna take another like 30 seconds for the artist to render. So that could be used to draw another in between for the animation. Having trouble with angles, why bother drawing the nose when you can just draw a line and have people fill in the fill in the picture themselves. So all these tricks I feel like it's just partially neat, and it's just kind of morphed into style and the whole look. So I'm going to save all these PSDs and you guys can I'll send it to you guys in the Discord, and so the rest of the stream I'll just probably finish up this picture right here real quick and then we'll end it there. Okay, let me save this real quick first. Yes, of course. We gave this man a good plastic surgery. This is the good plastic surgery, unlike some on those like botched. Failed plastics. It's the other secret ending. Okay, let's scoot. I'm gonna probably hide Twitch chat, so when I record this later, it'll be easier for me to edit. You guys don't need to see my face anyway. Alright, I hate swords. I can't render them for shit. Put some color in there or something, I don't know. Are you guys talking about that? What's his name? Something Ollie London, Ollie, or whatever his name. Because I think he went into like this weird dark path where he's now like, I found Jesus, and so I no longer have the like desire to realize all the things I've been doing has been crazy. Yeah, he came back for like a hot second and he was like, I found Jesus Christ, I am now becoming a priest or whatever. I don't know. It's crazy. Okay, let me, what's his name? Let me go look him up real quick. Quick detour because I'm distracted. Ollie London, right. Yeah, 2022 he converted to Christianity. Lord, he was detransitioning, going back to his original self, a biological thing. No, that's so weird. Oh my gosh. Oh no, my man, you can't do this to yourself. Why can't you love yourself? At least he's stopping the surgeries. I'm glad he's seeking help. God damn, but man, he was quite interesting. He's such a weird phase on the internet. Can't actually tell how bright this sword is supposed to be. Maybe that bright, actually. God, but he's actually more tame version of like reality TV now. Like all those TLC stuff that I've seen, like what's it, 600-Pound Sisters, my what's it called, that the one where it was like the moms date the kid, the sons of Friends of the Sons. Oh my god, oh lord. Cheeks. Bun here. Okay, I gotta finish up all the grass here. Where the layers be at? Why bother drawing grass when you can just finesse it? Just fake it till you make it. And then I'll throw in some actual grass to make it seem somewhat believable. Last week's JJK episode? No, I'm a binge watcher, Greta, remember? I don't watch till it's all out. I still haven't even read 237 because I'm too afraid. I'm waiting for the whole arc to finish and then I can just cry it all at once. The whole manga's gonna be finished. Oh my god. Striking, they probably should. They don't get paid enough. And especially if they have like so many projects all at once, because I know they're also working on a couple like really big ones that are coming out soon. I'm surprised they even get anything done. It's 4 months. God damn. Okay, well, props to them for giving the fans what they want, but also, good lord, that seems unhealthy, like major unhealthy. Chainsaw Man is a very niche type of anime or story. Like, it's kind of like, if people don't like the whole perverted, like sadistic aspect of some of the story, they're not gonna, you know, they're not gonna keep watching. Because I know that some people who are like casual watchers, they're definitely gonna find it like, oh, that's weird, why is like Denji's whole motivation arc about boobs? That's kind of weird. It's ew. But whereas like JJK is a little bit more tame and a little bit more digestible for the general audience. Because I know when I was watching with my sister, she was like, oh, why is he always about like boobs and stuff? And I'm like, it's part of its charm, it's part of its charm. Oops, why is this one so bright? Yeah, Chainsaw Man is very niche. Not everyone's gonna like it, whereas JJK is very generic, typical shonen anime with really good graphics, which is why people love it so much. I'm gonna use a quick restroom break. So I've been sitting here for like 3 hours without using the restroom. I'll be back real soon. Keep talking about Chainsaw Man or whatever. Alright, I'm back. Hope you guys didn't misbehave. Let's give the bun some grass. I feel like these brushes are very finicky. They don't like to do what I want it to do. Oops, that was a big grass. That's for fluffy grass. Oh man, if he's gonna finish the manga this year, he's got like a month left. I don't know if that's happening. So I'm just gonna manually add some strands there because it's really not working with me. Let's finish up this grass right here. Sure. It was so funny. Toji spinoff. if the character itself makes a lot of money, like if they have a character poll and he ends up like being number one, he might make it. I feel like he would have to at that point. Yes, Gojo is everyone's daddy. I mean, but if he kills him off, so hypothetically, if he kills him off, then Toji would have to be the second at best. Okay, soft light I don't like. We're gonna do another type of layer, maybe. Hard light? Maybe. We'll see. I think Greta might be a little bit more well-informed because I don't like using, I don't use those third-party apps for collecting references either. But I heard good things about it. I've seen like artists like, what's her name? Yuko. I forgot her tag name, but she calls herself Yueko, and she uses a third-party reference collecting app, and she uses it to kind of like create folders to kind of say like, oh, this is for this project or for this one. But I feel like Pinterest does the same thing for me too, so I don't really feel that like you need to use them, but if you do like the interface of them, or like, you know, you happen to be gifted one of these programs, then go for it. And here's where Bun Bun's gonna get cleaned up a little bit. Some of these lines are gonna go bye-bye. Give the bunny a little bit of pink cheek. But more importantly, this was the original idea. We're gonna go So yeah, in that sense, I use Pinterest a lot more. Cause you can see the images. Because I also have like a Photoshop file that says like references, but I actually use that one a little bit, but recently not so much. Where is it? Ref. I don't even call it references. I just call it ref. See, so all the references that I typically use. This one I was inspired to use, but I never ended up using it for summer. This one I used. This one I really wanted to use, didn't use. Right, like, then I have just some artist examples that I really liked. This one is not references, it's just character design notes for me. So that's about it. I don't have as much as I think I would like to have, but I just keep it just on the back burner in case I ever decided like, oh, I want to come back to it. I actually feel motivated to do something with them. The heck? We're almost done with this piece. The last thing we'll be doing is just adding the flowers into here and then adding the lighting, and then we'll probably be done. It's supposed to be just a quick piece. It's not supposed to be taking too long, but I always obsess over it too much. Yeah, my jacket. ass. Oops. Pinterest. Pinterest still smacks though. Super easy to use. Any good webtoons? Let me think. I have a lot saved. Let me look at my list real quick right now. What kind of genre do you enjoy though? Anything? I really like Guardians of the Lamb. It's like more psychological. It's like really confusing, but the art is really pretty. And all the male leads are properly BL proportioned, but it's not BL. So you know it's great at that point. Oh, there's also this manga called, what's it called? It's about, the art is so pretty. Let me look it up real quick. Let's look it up real quick together, everyone. Oh, if you like yandere stuff, this one's good. Very, not here. Comic Key. If you want to go to their official channels, this one is it. They have about 24 chapters right now. Monster Duchess is really good. Yeah, that was good until I kind of got bored at like near chapter 140 something, and then I was just like, where's it going? And I haven't caught up since. But yeah, this one's pretty good. Ah, this one. This one's also really good. It's a manga. Let's see, let me show you some pictures. Basically, it's about it's like a twist on the classic. Oh, the reincarnator or whatever, the possessor takes over the villainess in the story, but this time she like took over the villainess like early on since like childhood, and the villainess never actually went away. Yeah, so the villainess never ever went away, so she was like inside watching the possessor like do all these good things and give her reputation good, and like kind of heals the villainess, so she like falls in love with like the possessor or whatever. And then when the downfall situation happens, the possessor can't handle it because she's like, oh, I've been so good all this time, I can't believe they're like accusing me of shit like this. And she kind of loses her mind, and like the villainess finally comes back and takes over her body again, and she takes it's a revenge story against the saint or whatever, who's like a bitch. Anyway, it's really funny. It's very satisfying if you like revenge stories, and the art's really pretty. Like, goddamn, look at that hatch mark. Onna no so. Why does that sound so familiar? Art looks heckin' pretty. Oh yeah, I think I did read this one. It's pretty good. Anyway, you guys can keep giving her recommendations. Keep it up here and just race away from the bunny. Alright, we're almost there. Let's go. Flower, do some flowers here. Hakane Banshi. Let's look that up real quick. No, but the art looks good. Maybe I'll read it. That's a good sign. Alright, time to add in. Alright, I think that's good enough. Let's do the last highlights and we'll call it a day. Alright, we're gonna call it a day. This was a great session. I will be uploading the PSDs to the Google Drive folder and I'll send it to you all in the Discord, okay? I'm gonna go eat food and drink some water, okay? Bye bye, y'all.